Okay, we're just taking a couple of deep breaths. I have Isabel here, and we're going to just have a conversation and see where that leads us. And maybe it'll be a map, or maybe it'll be just some blank paper recording. I don't know what's going to happen here. So I know you just came off Zoom meetings. So was saying to me, how do you do a life of Zoom meetings? As I was saying, it's not, what's going on now is not usually what a life of Zoom meetings is like, but yeah, typically, yeah.
It's a lot. It uses interesting circuits in the brain, I think.
Yeah, it's a different way of connecting. It takes a while to acclimatize to it, and as does everybody else. So I think I have it easier because I'm working a lot one-to-one, although I do groups as well. But anyway, you have my empathy. Especially trying to facilitate people in these circumstances, being new to online. Holy, got your work cut out for you. Yeah.
Yes,
current context.
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, hun, this is about you, so I get to hold space for you because I know you're holding a lot for other people. And thank you. You said you watched 2 of these and you were doing parallel processing, so that's what it's about, is why we're doing this, and thank you for volunteering yourself to do it. We can just start wherever. If it feels like you're kind of rambling, just let me hold space for you to ramble. And this isn't a container. I'm offering it for support with the pandemic and everything that brings, right? All the unknowns and uncertainties and tensions. And so how is this impacting you?
I feel really fortunate in that the impact has been pretty minimal in some ways and pretty impactful in other ways. You know, I have, you know, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy, I have my basic needs met. I have my shelter, I have my food, I have family, I have positive connections, I have house, and I feel really grateful because I can come back and ground myself in that when other things swipe me.
Yeah.
Definitely the other impact that it's had is missing physical connection with friends, because I'm definitely someone who re-energizes through connecting with people. So I know that that's sometimes when my bowl gets empty fast, is because I don't have that place to go and refill it. So I'm trying to just be mindful and figure out ways.
Yeah, and you're living alone, so that's a tough one. Yeah.
Work has become really stressful. So I have both an office job, and then I had launched my consulting business for a few years. And I think that's where I'm feeling the most impact. So work is very stressful because, as many organizations and companies, we're trying to figure out what does this mean for us and how do we work in this way, while we also have all our other deliverables that we needed to do.
Yeah.
And dealing with office dynamics in a virtual way is interesting for me, and I know that I tend to be oversensitive in that way, which is both a gift and also a curse. But one of the other ways that it's really impacted is my business, because before COVID, it was starting to ramp off in this really beautiful way. Like, it was like things were happening, Christina, and I know that you've helped guide me and mentor me, and there were some key players that had noticed some of my work and had asked me to work with them starting in May, June, and now all that has gone kind of sideways, and I think I'm feeling really lost as to what's next. And I'm really aware of, like, this is a beautiful time to go inwards for sure, but I think for me, I really don't want to also lose some of the momentum that I was gathering, because I did a lot of work on my business.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So this reminds me, like, you came to one of the group calls, right? And your Camino Trail trip, and just taking a moment to recognize the loss. And so I'm kind of feeling the same thing right now. Just take a moment. And what a shame that, because I know how hard you've been working. That this has been a multi-year process, and it's been a lot of investment externally and internally. And I was
Mm-hmm.
so happy to hear that the momentum was kicking into gear, and
Yes.
also feel, you know, sad for you that what a shame. I had something similar happen back when 9/11 hit. So 6 months after going out
Mm-hmm.
on my own, then that hit.
Yes. Yes.
I kind of have empathy, you know, to
Yes.
something somewhat similar. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know how this is all going to play out, but you know, in thinking back, I feel my orphan. I feel myself back there. So I just
Mm-hmm.
want to take a moment to just uh, recognize the painfulness of that. Like what a
Mm-hmm.
bummer! What a supreme bummer to have it to be having some traction, and then it hit this wall, right?
Yes.
So I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. You're right. It is a big loss. Yeah, because it feels like a lot of investment. And I remember now, I remember you sharing your story with us. And yeah, it's similar because it was so unexpected. Like,
Yeah, and all
yeah.
that happiness and fear and excitement, right, of going on your own, and especially when some
Mm-hmm.
of those seeds start to pop, like it was happening for you, and you get
Mm-hmm.
past that. So everybody's journey is different, but you know, at first it's a little shaky, and a lot of the work we had been doing in the Working Visually community for you was around those goals and that feeling place of it. And so to finally have that feeling place start to show up, and go
Mm-hmm.
from being on the page or being within as a visioning thing to have it start to show up in the physical, right? So
Yes.
um I'm just kind of feeling into, first off, I just wanted to do that. Let's just acknowledge the
Thank you.
you know, that loss and that supreme bummer of that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other things in here too, like I feel the
Mm-hmm.
with the work thing and that dynamic, it makes me wonder about Orphan Rescue in there, that there's
Mm-hmm.
something in those work interaction, or maybe one in particular, that might be taking you somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just
One,
guess,
one,
go ahead, please. Yeah.
what just came up for me when you said that is that the gift of my business was that it allowed me a place where I could go play and be joyful because it was
Mm.
work that I wanted, work that
Ah,
I was choosing, work that I was, you know, I mean, not all client work is easy and joyful, but um,
full
while I could,
expression
like
of
my,
you.
yeah, it really was. While in my office work, it was like, well, I'm not the boss, right? And there's other factors at play. And so it gave me this kind of other place where I could express so much more of myself, right? And now that part is on hold or dormant or um, I don't want to say closed, but is not active right now. I'm not having that escape in some ways to use all my other skills and my other creativity and my other work.
Is there disrespect?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I can feel, is that disrespect, right? Like, not here, I hear the leader, right? Like you being in your own and having that sovereignty, if you will. And
Mhm.
I know that's, you know, you're sorting through the roles, GR, GF, you know, oh yes, it's F, right?
Yes, it's F.
It's
It is.
F.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
facilitator, the leader, the boss, so to speak, at least the
Yeah.
process wise, right? Which comes with a different level of respect. And then I can just feel that collapse as you come into the work structure and how you're seen there,
Mhm.
and the juxtaposition between those two, right? So up here in your
Mhm.
power and in your talent, right, and in your leadership, and then something being crammed down. I don't know if those are the right words for you, but I can feel my body collapsing or being kind of stuffed down as I hear you describe it.
No, that I think you captured it. It definitely, that's how it feels, and the juxtaposition between the two experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sweetie, I think I know where I want to go process wise. Can you
Okay.
guess? I think we're gonna go to Orphan Rescue. So give
I
me a
thought that
sec.
might be
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I've been itching to do an Orphan Rescue with you. Okay. Let's see. Give me a sec. I'm just gonna find my tool, and then I'll share my screen. Okay, let's share this. Have you ever done one of these yet? You've seen them,
We
have you?
did.
Yeah, we did one in one of the
We did
groups.
one. Yeah.
Okay. So what just presented itself is the trigger, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what you're experiencing in your employed role.
Mm-hmm.
And was there a particular incident, or is it just kind of the juxtaposition between how you are in your consulting business versus how you are in this role? Or did something happen with somebody where it was particularly bad? Or not bad, but uncomfortable,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
There's been, I think, a series of events. There's one that I particularly remember where it just all became so clear. But I mean, it happens enough that it's just
Let's go to that one where
constant.
it became clear. If you could describe
Mm.
that a little for me, and I'll jot that down in the trigger box here, and then we'll go
Mm-hmm.
from there.
Um, so it's a colleague that in theory hierarchically, if we want to talk organizational um,
Structure.
development structure, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're in theory both at the same hierarchical level.
Okay. Supposedly a peer.
Supposedly, yes. Um, and they were making a lot of decisions about the department that I oversee.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I would push back, the response was like, you don't understand. You don't understand budgets. You don't understand operations. You don't understand needs. And to my response was like, I don't, because I don't have, I mean, I've done budgets and I've done all that, but I said, because I don't understand budgets, I let you do that because I respect that's your realm. So you need to respect the fact that I am an expert in the learning design. I'm an expert in facilitation. I'm an expert in what is required to do that. By you making decisions in my department, you are pretending to know all this without asking. And at one point, there was a very dismissive, like, well, really, how long does it take to create curriculum? Like, why can't you just put it together? Um, and this was in one meeting, and then the next meeting, he did follow up and said, oh, I want to follow up around that. And then they pretty much said, well, if we don't do what I'm saying, then we're going to have to fire people. To which I said, that's a threat. Why can't we explore other things, right? Why is it that there is only one answer? Why is it that we can't explore other possibilities?
Mm-hmm.
And I was very clear, and not unfortunately, but there were tears, and I wish there weren't tears. I said, I asked them to not disrespect my knowledge and expertise level in the area that I'm an expert in.
Mm-hmm.
They said that they didn't mean to. I said, with those words, it shows that you didn't quite understand what is needed. And that is exactly my concerns, that you're making decisions when you're not understanding what this is.
Okay.
And then they went ahead and made a unilateral decision that completely impacts my work and my department.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that he then started having side conversations with somebody that I supervise.
So undermining.
Completely, yeah. And then they started making decisions about projects that would be, even though I wouldn't be doing the direct projects, I would be overseeing these projects. So again, I called them out on it. My colleague, my person that's supposed to be at the same level as me and said, hey, you are asking as someone that is under my team, and I know their capacity, as in regards to, you know, I need to know what's being given to them so that I know where capacity is. And I know my sense is that there isn't good understanding from their part on good organizational development practices.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't a lot of understanding around clear project management skills and processes.
Mm-hmm.
However, they have found in this person who works underneath me someone that constantly says yes.
Mm-hmm.
With me, they find someone that pushes back.
Mm-hmm. Path of least resistance, huh?
Yep.
So I'm kind
Yeah.
of teasing out in the black lettering here some themes in here. So there's somebody who's making unilateral decisions, and they're going to other people, so side conversations, and there's kind of undermining, and there's people being yes and you being not necessarily no, but having to be involved in a conversation about it, right? Is it fair enough to say disrespect?
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. And I think, and I don't know how to label this, but the idea that other ideas, you know, like when they said, you know, like we have to do this, there's no other way. It's like, well, we haven't even explored other ways because you have decided that this is the only way forward. And even when we had a brainstorming session of coming up with other ideas, they somehow found ways to shoot every single other idea down, and only their idea was the only one that would be valid.
Okay. So ideas really shot down. Okay. So let's tease out, as we're talking about this situation, get yourself embodied in that situation. Go into your body, your somatic, and describe what it feels like. How is it being in this situation with these people and with this swirl of stuff happening? How does it show up in your body? And if you were to describe how it feels, how does it feel? I know it feels disrespectful. What else? If it was my dream, galling, I don't know. What's the word?
Well, it feels disrespectful of everything, you know, like of my intelligence, of my role, of my voice, my skills, my experience. There's a big knot. And I think the knot is both towards them directly, but also towards the rest of the people who were in the room who just take a very passive role.
When you say knot, do you mean a knot like in the body, or not like N-O-T?
K-N-O-T, you got it. The knot
Yeah,
in the
okay.
body for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be either way.
And I think the other thing that comes, yeah, it does, that comes up is also like this kind of like build up in my chest, knowing that in my past, when I have expressed emotions in a situation where emotions aren't welcome, then folks that are able to keep a very non-emotional stance are the ones that are heard.
Yeah, there's a discounting that happens. Okay, very good. But I'm starting to feel it brew. Before it brews too much, I want to anchor you in your now self, a certain aspect, because this is pretty close to the now self, right? But what is if you're okay saying your current age, how old are you currently?
47.
What is the best thing about being 47? despite, you know, if we maybe sometimes I have to say lately, let's go beyond COVID and before this all happened, because it's a little hard to access sometimes in the midst of all this. So if we go back a couple months, what was the best thing about being 47 then?
The best thing about being 47. I mean, I've always been a little loud, but I am so not scared of claiming my space at 47.
Now, I'm going to flip it. So you said being of not being loud or being whatever. Is it loud? What's the claiming space? What's the essence of that?
Mm-hmm.
Like having a voice, speaking?
Yeah, having a voice, speaking, and I guess being okay. It just feels like there's just this kind of that quality of confidence of just being able to express who I am and what I say and what I mean, and not be not trying to make myself smaller than I am.
Okay, so full size
Yeah,
gets us close
you
to
know,
it.
and feeling grounded in the
Mhm.
depth of my experience, not only like professional, but just the depth of my life experience that has created the person that I am right now.
Yep. Okay, wonderful. I need those words in case I need to anchor you, because we're going to go in. And as we go in, sometimes it can get confusing because we can become the orphan. And so if I need to summon the 47-year-old, now I have the words to summon her. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we're going in. So I'm going to reflect back some of these words that are going on in the current situation with this colleague. And your job is to find a match somewhere else in your past. We might have multiple matches. We might have a cluster of matches. It might be a whole era of life or something, or it may be one incident. We'll find out. So as I reflect these back, see where you go, and you might see something, you might know it, you might sense it. However it comes to you, just let it come. So there's decisions being made, unilateral decisions. You're not really being spoken with. You're being discounted in terms of your intelligence and your role and your voice, your skills, your experience. All of that is not being taken into account. You're being gone around to people who will say yes and people who are passive. There's a knot, and the chest is tight. And in this place, whatever there we are, emotions aren't welcome. So people are very logical and very linear, and that is valued. But the feminine, the more emotional, care, maybe even tears or frustration, they're not allowed. Does that remind you of anything? And if so, what does it remind you of? No other ideas are allowed.
Mm. Well, the first image that came to mind was my family of origin.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know there's been other incidents. So I was also trying to find those.
Well, let's go to the family of origin. And if any flash, we know the family of origin came up, so we know that. If there's any other ones that flashed and you have a certain age, let me know what that age is and I can come back. But you don't have to poke around. If they didn't come easy, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put family of origin down here. And since you said my family of origin flashed, was there a certain time period or experience, a moment, or was it like all of childhood?
Um, I get two flashes. One when I was probably around 8 or 9, and then one when I was in like my mid-teens, maybe around 15, 16.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
those seem to be the two the main ages that it flashed.
Perfect. Okay, good. So we've got, in my parlance, we've got a child and an adolescent.
Yes.
Two different consciousnesses. So
Yes.
which one do you want to go to first?
Um, I think let's do the adolescent.
That's wise, because she in
Yes.
turn can come help rescue the younger one.
Yeah.
Okay, was there a certain instant that comes to mind at 16, 15, 16? Or was there a certain thing going on for that year or years around there?
I think there was just things going on. I think the violence in my home was at a peak again because it ebbs and flows, right? But around that time, it was peaking again. Um, and I was doing a lot of calling out of what I was seeing.
Ah, yes. Okay. So this is where the voice stuff comes in. So calling
Mm-hmm.
it out, others being passive and you being
Mm-hmm.
the vocal one. And so the linear brain, I can go, aha, now I see why this is connected. So, but anyway, we'll come back to that later. Let's go for the orphan. So
Okay.
what we're going to do, and just play with it, we're doing deep work actually with the subconscious,
Mm-hmm.
but I just had to say to the left brain, it's like, okay, this might seem a little imaginary, and at one level it is, but another level it's not imaginary at all. So
Mm-hmm.
so through the power of focus and imagination and co-creation, I want to go back to that 16-year-old. I'm going to assume maybe it's in the family home. Where do we go?
Yeah.
Okay, so you lead the way. I'm going to follow along behind you. And we're going to, do we come into a certain room? Where do we go?
The family room
Yeah.
next to the dining room.
Okay, so go on into the family room next to that dining room. Anybody else who's there, I want you to freeze them. The only one who kind of stays awake and conscious as you come into the room with me behind you is your 16-year-old self.
Okay.
And we come in for landing, and I'm kind of coaching you. I'm standing behind you, whispering things into your ears. If need be, I can always step up and take the role, but I'm going to kind of guide you for you to do it. So the first thing you want to do is tell her who the heck we are. And speak direct to her if you can. I know it sounds a little weird. Sometimes it feels weird to do it, but just say to her, hi, honey, I'm.
Mm. Hi, honey. It's me. It's your future self. And I'm here for you right now. I've seen how all this plays out.
Now, I'll pipe up behind your shoulder. And I'm Christina. I'm what's called their coach and friend and colleague, since we happen to live in the same place. Yeah. And we're here. By the way, honey, we're sorry it took us so long.
Mm.
We're really sorry it took us so long.
Mm-hmm.
Let her just feel that. We know you're in distress. We know that this is scary and infuriating. And you're the one speaking and others are being yes, yes, and passive. This is way before your years, what's happening here. And we're coming because you are so important to Isabel and what ends up playing out in her life. And we're here to actually rescue you. Because unbeknownst to you, everybody's gone on in time, but in a way you've been trapped here in time. And we don't want that to happen anymore. See how that
Mm-hmm.
lands for her. You're going to be my translator because you're in touch with her. So how does that land for her?
Mm. She's so relieved that someone sees her.
Yeah, we see you,
And
sweetheart.
she's so relieved that she's not alone.
Oh gosh, we see you and you aren't alone. We care about you, we love you, and we're going to, you're coming with us. You're with us. She she may just be ready for rescue and we get her the heck out of here. But Isabel, we need to figure out where to bring her. Do we bring her to your 2020 self, who's got a lot going on given it's COVID time? And or have you ever done a future self? Do you have a future self set up? If not, we can set one up right now.
I don't have a future self.
Okay. So my feeling, tell me, do you think you want her in the now, or do you want to go tuck her away somewhere else for now?
That's an interesting one.
It might be okay. So some people are bringing their orphans to the now. So
yeah, like I feel like I'm in a, I mean, you know, there's stuff going on, but I feel like in a good solid place.
Okay.
To welcome her here.
Excellent. Let's try it and see how it goes. It may very well, we'll know soon enough, right? And we can always add on to it if we need to. Okay. So sorry to be speaking like you're not here, orphan. Do you have any questions? Do you get the gist of what this is? We're going to bring you to 2020, which is the time of your future self. And Isabel, this is your chance to give her a bit of a sales job and explain to her what 2020 is like. What do you have to offer her?
Well, what I have to offer is a pretty cool life where I'm making a really beautiful circle of friends who see me, and I am doing some work that I could have probably never imagined that I would be doing. And sometimes I have to pinch myself that I'm doing it. And I have a life that I just kind of go, wow, this is like really cool. Like I'm one of them cool 47-year-olds that's like really doing some awesome stuff and having fun and enjoying life, embracing music, where I'm no longer shy to be the only person dancing when there's music. And I've brought so much music and art and joy and some really quirky, interesting people in our lives that really honor our journey and honor us.
How does she respond to that? Is she intrigued? Does she have any yeah buts?
She's worried about leaving everybody else behind.
Oh, what a sweetheart. Okay, here's what we say to that. Sweetheart, you're not leaving them behind. They're actually all individuals who, believe it or not, are responsible for themselves. And time has progressed. You're the only one who's actually stayed here. How does that land for her?
She's curious. She's definitely open to coming over.
Let me also put this one into the mix. This is my guess, knowing you to some extent and having some of my own similar stuff. You're actually not responsible for everybody. It's very sweet and very touching and very caring, and what an example of a big heart and a very strong person to step up at 16 and to be carrying that responsibility for others. I don't know if it's for mother or for siblings or who we're talking about, but that's a lot for a 16-year-old. So what is actually offered in this rescue is that when you come to 2020, you actually get to put down that responsibility and be the 16-year-old that you never were. And Isabel will take on the role of parent and will be providing an environment for you. You just heard about her cool environment. And she's a very cool woman. She's capable. She's together. Yes, there's some stuff going on in 2020 that she's got some bumps going on in her business, and she's got some stuff going on at work. But, you know, she is very capable. and she'll be able to provide and set up an environment for you that fits you to a T. There'll still be some supervision, but you're not a little kid. So there's going to be an in-between place here that she can create for you. You're not to get into her business stuff or into her love life, right? But your job is to be a 16-year-old. And we'll soon enough figure out what it is that you want to do at 16. See how that all lands for her, because sometimes there's, you know, an understandable loyalty and desire to stay there, which I think we're encountering with her. And also there's some confusion, because I think she's a bit confused, and probably we'll go back and see the 8-year-old where this comes from. She's a little bit too big for britches in a way. Understandable that she is, because the environment, and it's very impressive and amazing that she stood up and in some ways was the adult when others couldn't be. But it's inappropriate too. It's kind of grandiose, right? It's kind of beyond her. She shouldn't have had to have been placed into that position, but unfortunately she was.
She's definitely thinking that being able to be a 16-year-old sounds really cool, because she sees other 16-year-olds having a lot of fun right now.
Okay, just getting goosebumps. So Isabel, go ahead and wrap an arm around her and bring her forward in time. And as you guys are moving forward, I can feel I have a construction crew helper. So Ian's showing up, and Ian and I are going to dismantle the living room. So we're dismantling the family room and the living room and the dining room and the whole house, everything we're collapsing, never to return to again. It's turning into a black hole that kind of eats itself and poof, disappears. And that leaves her with no place of return, right? So she couldn't go back there even if she wanted to. So now she's there, boom, the two of you are there in 2020. I'm thanking Ian for his help and assistance. He's giving me the, "You're welcome, ma'am," nod. And then now I am able to continue and meet you guys in 2020. So there she is in your apartment there on 4th Street. And you're kind of showing her around, and let's create a room for her. And what does she want in her room?
She wants really comfortable bed, and then she also wants a really comfortable kind of like armchair where she can just kind of sink into and read to her heart's content all she wants when she's not outside kind of playing and being all fun.
Beautiful.
But she loves to read.
Okay, so that her wish is our command here. So we're going to create the bed and create the armchair. And she loves to curl up and read, so you can supply her. What kind of books does she want? What is she interested in?
Oh, so many things. She really likes spy movies or spy books. She really likes fantasy books. She really likes stories of people. People who've overcome challenges. And she likes to read about the world. She's always been curious about world religions and cultures. Lots of National Geographics.
Cool. So the whole stack of books here for her. What else does she want? Now, she can go to school. There's a lot of homeschooling going on right now. So it might be a homeschooling can be set up, just the perfect thing for her and her interests.
Well, and this might open up a whole other orphan rescue, so feel free not to go down the rabbit hole with me. But I think what she wants is also her friends, because our life, my life, her life was we would move to a new country every few years. So she lost a lot of friends.
Okay, this is super important. So yeah, she's going to have a
Yeah.
home base. And you said, but of course, sweetheart, you can have friends. You've got the neighborhood here. I will help set you up with any kind of interests. If you want to have some sort of homeschooling network with your friends, we can do that. Your wish is my command. You can have friends. I'm going to supervise and make sure you're not getting into trouble with some of those kids, but you can have friends. Yeah.
Yes.
How does she respond to that?
And friends that won't go away, or that we won't go away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, this is not nomadic. You have stability. What's the opposite of that nomad life that she had? What is she craving? She's craving what that you can provide for her?
Belonging and connection.
Yeah, okay, beautiful. Goosebumps again. Belonging, connection.
One,
Yes.
and a stable place in which to go explore. She definitely wants to go explore, but knows that there's a place to come back to.
So both. Yeah, she's got exploration and stability, because she had a lot of exploration in her life with the other timeline, right? But this one, she gets stability. She gets both.
Yeah.
The best of both worlds. How nice. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome. Welcome connection, welcome stability, welcome exploration, welcome belonging. Welcome being able to read about all those interests and poke into everything that you like. The world and people overcoming challenges and fantasy and spies.
Yes.
That sounds good. Okay, now we've got another orphan we're going to go rescue. So we can leave the 16-year-old here and put in some proper supervision, or see if the 16-year-old wants to come as we go back in time. What is most appropriate for her?
Well, the 16-year-old wants to come because she likes to take care of people.
Okay. Well, she's old. Go ahead.
You know, and again, you know, I feel like I think with support, with us going with her, Christina, then at least she won't be alone and she won't be adultified.
Okay. And that's what we say. Okay, you can come, but here's the rules. You're behind us. You're an observer. This is kind of a training exercise. And she's old enough. Yeah, she's old enough so we can be in the mentor role with her. But if anything happens, we may put a little force field around her, right? We may send her home. We might, depending on what occurs. But okay, we're okay with a 16-year-old accompanying us because we think the pros are going to outweigh any cons here. And if there are any cons, we will take care of them because we're capable, badass women.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, which she needs to see. Good. Okay, trio, we're going in. We're going for the 8-year-old. Where is she?
She's outside in a tree.
What's she doing in a tree?
Well, she likes to hang out in trees because it's safe.
Sounds like a smart idea to me. So that's her sanctuary, is there in the tree. And how come she's
fun?
And is there something going on that she needs to be away from?
There's more fighting going on in the house and she can see from the tree.
I see. Okay. So us three, let's go find her in the tree. 16-year-old, you're going to stay down on the ground with me. 47-year-old Isabel, you're going to climb on up and go find that orphan. And as you climb up and you come in next to her, you have to explain to her who you are. Sweetheart, hi.
I remember this tree. It was full of mangoes, and we would eat all the mangoes we could possibly find.
Mm.
And then the next one over is guavas, so we would eat all the guavas. And I know you're here because you want to get away from what's happening inside the home. And I'm here because I am your future self. And where I am, it's safe. And where I am, I get to make my decisions about keeping myself safe.
Mm. Apologize to her. It took a while.
I'm sorry it took me so long to come back and find you. I know you've been waiting here for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I know it's so confusing. You don't understand what's going on inside the house. And I know that you've tried to ask and tell and try to have a voice,
Mm-hmm.
and you've tried to protect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard as a little person.
Yeah. You tried. You did a really good job. You're an amazing kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's unfair, and we're sorry that this is what you went through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling that up from the
And
trauma. Mm-hmm.
I also want to say to you that I think it's so cool that even though you're scared and you're confused, you're still so spunky and feisty. And you're climbing up trees, and you're, like catching lizards and making friends and helping out little kids in your school.
What a cool kid you are. I love you. What a cool kid.
Mm-hmm.
Tell her you love her.
I love you. You're so cool.
Yeah.
And I know you don't always feel loved,
Yeah.
but you're so cool.
So I don't know if she'll receive a hug, but I'm assuming you can have an arm around her or cuddle her and pull her close.
Mm-hmm.
And explain the rescue to her and see how she feels. She might be ready, or she may have some yeah buts, some things that need to be explained.
Mm-hmm. Well, you get to come and live with one of those cool older women you've been reading about. And in a pretty cool place called Victoria. And where I won't let harm come to you.
I'll protect you.
I'll protect you.
Tell her how capable you are.
Mm.
And strong and independent.
I'm very strong. I'm also very kind and gentle and warm, and I'm very independent. I live on my own. I have my own work. I make my own decisions. I live my life. We get to have fun together. And I have other 8-year-olds in my life that you would really, really like.
How does she respond?
She really wants to come.
Okay. Is there anything you need to explain as she looks at that scene going on in the house? What is the appropriate that you can explain to an 8-year-old about what she's seeing going on with the parents and going on in the house? She might be taking it into her head that she's somehow responsible, or there's something she should be doing, which isn't true.
She is. She definitely thinks a lot of it is her fault, because if only she was quieter. If only she was smaller.
Oh. So tell her,
if only she didn't argue so much.
It's not about you being too big. It's not about you being too loud. It's not about you being argumentative. It's not about that at all. That's your parents having their own stuff going on.
Yes, and you know it, little one, this was happening even before you came into this world.
There you go.
Yeah, this was happening, and they haven't done their work. And I know it's hard to understand what that means, but they haven't spent time with themselves to understand what they're feeling. And so the feelings come out in ugly words and ugly actions instead.
Explain, they've, I don't know what the right words are to explain context to an 8-year-old, but your parents come with their own history. They come with their own family complications that result in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I know it's hard to see them right now because they're full grown-ups, but before they were also as little as you,
Mm-hmm.
or, you know, a teenager like your sister. And sometimes we don't leave the hurts behind, and those hurts come back when we're big and old like them. And then we try and hurt other people. And you might feel that you have causes, but you haven't. You are being you. You are being who you're supposed to be, an 8-year-old kid who is curious, who asks, who sometimes says no, sometimes says yes, who is mischievous, who's exploring. All that is normal.
Does she have any yeah buts? Is there anything that she's confused about or needs to be set straight on?
That everyone else seems to think that her family is so perfect.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
She's going, but they're perfect. What do you tell her?
Yeah.
No, this isn't perfection. What is it? What is this? This is behind the image, behind the mirage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you get to see things that other people don't get to see. They act a certain way in different when different people are around. So you're not making things up in your head. What you're seeing
Yeah.
is real.
Yeah.
What you're seeing is real.
You have good observational skills.
Yeah.
Good deduction, good reasoning, good logic.
And she's wondering why her siblings don't seem to notice.
Right. Right. Because everybody's, in a way, she's been gaslit here to think she's wrong, but she's actually right. So what do you, from your 47-year-old perspective, what can you tell her about that?
Well, you know, if we stand in front of this tree and you stand over there and I stand over here, we're seeing the same tree, but we're seeing it in completely different ways. Maybe you're seeing this branch, but I'm seeing over here these leaves, or where this branch is missing. And so sometimes different people see the same thing in different ways. And just like you're here in this tree, hanging out here, your siblings are doing other things that makes them feel okay with what's going on. And for
They've got
whatever reason,
their own coping mechanisms. Yours is going up the tree. Yeah.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, you have been gifted with the desire to speak out and call out what you see. And that is a powerful gift.
I appreciate that about you. Tell her that. I appreciate your voice. I appreciate your calling out.
I so appreciate your calling out, and I appreciate your voice and your truth telling.
Mm-hmm.
because this world needs truth telling.
And yes, sometimes people will come back and say, that's not the truth, and try to convince you otherwise. And that's okay. That's their way of being. You know what your truth is.
Yeah. Listen to your heart. You know this.
Offer her the rescue.
So come on, if you want, let's go over to 2020 and hang out in my cool place with my cool friends and my cool life and have fun. There won't be violence. Violence won't touch you there.
It's safe.
And you can speak. It's safe and you can speak. So come on over.
And so she comes down the tree, and the 16-year-old can take her hand. She's been observing nicely all the way along. 16-year-old, anything you want to say to the 8-year-old?
I'm glad you're coming with us.
Nice. So Isabel, you take the two of them to 2020. And I'm gonna, with Ian's help, collapse down the tree and collapse down the window looking in and collapse down the parents and the fighting and all the contextual ancestral stuff that's there. And we're collapsing that down into a quantum soup and down the black hole, and poof, gone, never to return to again. And I'm thanking Ian, getting the you're welcome ma'am again, thank you. And I'm continuing along behind you and coming alongside into 2020, and now you need to set up a place for the 8-year-old. What does she want?
She's confused because she's always wanted places where she can hide.
Well, that can be arranged. It might take a while till she realizes she doesn't need them, but if that's going to make her feel safe, what would she like to create? Does she want a hidden room? What does she want?
She wants a room that has a cubby so that she can go into a cubby with curtains and cushions and little fairy lights. So if she needs to hide, she can go hide there.
Perfect. Then create the little cubby for her. Tell her she can go there, pull those curtains and nestle in. She's safe as can be. And what does she want in her room outside of the cubby?
The comfy bed and lots of arts and crafts stuff. She loves art stuff. And books.
Books. So she gets her own set of books, and she's got stuff to create things, lots of paper and glue and scissors and markers and sparkles and whatever else she wants. And what's going to happen with her with education? She might have a little recovery time, a little spring break for a while.
I think we need to give her a spring break.
Okay, so she gets a little rest and recuperate time, a little R&R time. She's got the little cubby she can go into.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's get it straight, because this kid has also thought she needed to do some things that were different from an 8-year-old. So, honey, your role is to be an 8-year-old. So what's an 8-year-old's job?
To explore her world, to explore her creativity, and to not worry about coloring in the lines if she doesn't want to. To try new around and climb trees because they're joyful, not because that's where she needs to hide.
Ah, okay, for the fun of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And let her know, just like the 16-year-old had to be told that you're the boss. So you're in charge of business and money and work and adult relationships. You're going to appropriately supervise her, so she's going to be kept safe and secure. You're going to be her surrogate parent. You're kind of taking over the role. And her.
Yeah, you know, you don't have to worry about those things. I will worry about those things.
Good. Yeah. And you've got a partner in your life, so what do you say to her about that? Because she might be a little apprehensive about seeing you in a partnership. What do you have to say to her about this partnership?
I'll say that you'll find that he's a big kid at heart as well, that he likes to be goofy and playful, that he's a very gentle man. So you won't hear him yelling or screaming.
And is there anything that she needs? It might take her a little bit to get her voice, but anything that she needs, anything that she wants to let you know that would be helpful for her?
That she can ask questions, and that those questions won't get her in trouble, that it's okay, and that, you know, if I have the answer, I'll share in an appropriate way, and if I don't, then we will figure out something, but that it's okay to ask questions, and if she's confused about anything, that, you know, there's an adult here to help her go through all that.
Okay,
And
so
that she'll be believed.
Good. She can come to you. She can talk to you about anything. If anything is bothering about her, if there's anything she's scared about or anybody, she can come to you and you will listen and you will believe her and you will sort it out. You will take the time and sort it out with her.
Yes.
Okay. So check with her and check with the 16-year-old. Is everybody clear on what their roles are, what the boundaries are? Who the boss is? What kind of boss she is? Different from how it's been in the past.
Yeah. And I think I'm getting they're saying to me that they might have to call me out on stuff sometimes.
Okay.
If I don't follow my role.
Okay. They're watching you to make sure you're congruent. Yeah.
Yes.
And how do you, is that okay by you? What do you say in response?
I got a grin on my face that yes, fair.
Fair. Okay. That's a plan, Stan. Okay. Okay. With that, then 8-year-old and 16-year-old, go play, go have fun. Let them scamper off and get acquainted with their new environment. And then I'm going to turn to 47-year-old Isabel and say, well done. You just did an amazing journey of rescuing 2 very important orphans. And it may already be there, but the dots will probably connect even more as you consider this, right? About the overlap from the now situation, why that was complicated. Because of you got a rebellious teenager and you've got a young child who was complicated in that situation. Nothing wrong with that, just the way it went. So the proof is in the pudding. You'll see as it goes along, right? My guess with these two, not only is it going to be helpful for the situation with the colleague, isn't it interesting, like attracts like, hey, how we attract kind of the same patterns to keep working it. So we'll see what happens now that these two are integrated in you. And you may not have the same problems, or sometimes miraculous things happen where people end up leaving jobs, either yourself or him or whatever, or you get in a leadership position or whatever might happen. So it'll be interesting to see what unfolds here. That's just the power of energy and of the subconscious collective there. So let's go back. The final place on the map is how do you feel? So you come into a session, we do a bunch of stuff, and then at the end of it, and this is always a check, right? Back to your somatic. Now that you've rescued those two, what do you notice in your somatic?
I have this feeling of warmth, like I'm holding two beings, like I have a person around. My arms are around two people.
Yeah, aren't they?
So there's a warmth there. Yeah.
Yeah. There's your little trio. You guys are all here. Okay, so I think that's a sign of some work occurred here. That's a good indication that some powerful inner work just occurred, and you're feeling that warmth, and you're feeling that trio of the three of you together. Okay, well done, sweetheart. Anything you want to say to conclude, knowing this will just be gentle with yourself? You did very powerful work. It'll continue and unfold. You may dream about it, journal about it. Things may flit in and out of your consciousness. Just allow that to all be okay. It'll continue to play out. I'll do some puttering and I'll send the map to you. And I just want to thank you. Thank you for allowing me to hold the space for this piece of work for you. And thank you for being willing to have it recorded to share with others who will benefit as well from the parallel processing. We're all connected, so as you do your inner work, it helps this whole collective and what we're going through in 2020 and beyond. So thank you, Isabel.
Thank you for holding a gentle space and being a strong woman to help the three of us here.
It's my pleasure, sincere pleasure. Take good care, and I will see you once the lockdown is over. We will get together for a walk.
Okay, promise.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, and the crow just cawed, or whatever they do, the raven, it just went, rah, rah, rah.
Oh, I love it.
And that's my JJ signal. So JJ just got into here at the end.
Oh. Hi, JJ.
Yeah, so JJ's given his thumbs up on what you just did. He's saying hello. Going to join us on that walk, apparently. Good.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, take good care. Bye.
Thank you.